I'm Douglas Mason, CEO of Naturally Splendid, symbol NSP on the TSX Venture Exchange. Naturally Splendid is a biotechnology and consumer products company focused on the global cannabis and health markets. Naturally Splendid is expanding distribution in this rapidly growing market with products currently in Canada, the USA, South Korea, Germany, and Australia. To view our comprehensive company presentation and for more information, please visit our website at naturallysplendid.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen from the TechnicalTraders.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim.
Chris, the news out of the U.S. Fed, what is that doing to markets, and what was that news?
Yeah, well, the Fed is talking about potentially cutting the rate, and of course that instantly created a chain reaction through the markets. We saw equities instantly pop. Obviously, rates going lower, people are going to want to pile into equities to get a higher return on investment. So we saw that pop, and then we saw precious metals really take a big pop and run, and we're seeing, pretty much miners, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, all of them are ripping to the upside today. Now, the big thing is they're all pushing up near resistance. This afternoon, we're seeing a continued push pretty much all day to the upside. But we are getting to resistance. It's a news-based move. And typically we see news-based moves give back 50 or 100% of the gain within a couple of days. So, it's exciting to see everything moving higher today, but it is based on news. We'll have to see how it's going to react when the dust kind of settles tomorrow, Friday, and see if we get follow-through buying or if this news-based pop is going to kind of stall out. But, looking at metals and miners, they're all on the verge of breaking out, and you can argue that they are in a bull market now. Gold and miners seem to be in a bull market. Silver's still lagging in terms of the technicals, but, it looks very bullish here, looking forward long-term for gold and miners.
Why has silver taken so long to catch up with gold?
I think gold is seen more as a safe haven play. I noticed when we had a lot of fear going on in the market, gold seemed to outperform. It would even outperform gold miners when global kind of crises were kicking in. And so I just find I think more of the world kind of moves to gold as a safe haven. So it's moved up early. The miners play catch up very quickly, and now the miners are more or less leading. Silver's in the back burner. It's not quite the same precious metal that gold is seen in terms of a safe haven. And I find it lags a bit. It'll play catch up in due time, but it typically doesn't really lead gold or gold miners. So, it's sitting really pretty here. Beautiful pattern. It's so close to having a huge breakout and run, but it's still struggling to outperform, and its time will come, but I think we're seeing the safe havens, gold miners kind of do all the heavy lifting right now, and silver will play catch up later.
With interest rates in the U.S. expected to drop, what's that going to do to the U.S. dollar?
Yeah, the dollar's having a big drop today, and that's one of the, obviously if you're going to make less interest on the U.S. dollar, people are going to kind of shuffle their money out of the dollar and try and find money elsewhere. And if they're talking about a rate cut, investors are looking forward more than just one rate cut. Once they start cutting, who knows how many times they could cut it. So, money's obviously flowing out of the dollar today. It's moving into other assets like gold and equities. So, it definitely points for a sideways or weaker dollar short term. But I think everyone has already kind of been anticipating that there's a rate cut coming. And again, I think we're going to see this be a hiccup on the chart. I still feel as though the dollar is the global safe haven for traders, investors, more or less around the globe. So I think this is a pullback. I think we're still going to see the dollar kind of trade sideways and grind its way higher, which falls in line with, I think gold could stall out a little bit here and potentially pull back a bit before it really goes much higher.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after the break.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp. is a Canadian-based mineral exploration project generator. The company currently holds multiple property interests in Ontario with joint venture partners and is seeking further joint venture partners for other drill-ready properties in our portfolio. For more information, please visit our website at rmroyalty.com or call me at 604-922-2030.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, in all the excitement about gold going up and stocks going up, where is crude going?
Yeah, well, crude's had a huge pop today. It's up 4.5%. It's been in an uptrend for a couple of weeks. It had a pretty sharp pullback about last week, and today it's having kind of the flip of that. It's having a big pop and extension. It's starting to break out to the upside, and I've got a $62 per barrel upside target for where it should run into some resistance. And we looked at it when it put in a double bottom in early June and then broke out of there. More or less, it faded right back into a support zone. Buyers are stepping back in, and it's just continuing this uptrend. I mean, you got to stick with the overall trend, and the next key resistance level is $62 per barrel, currently trading around $60.40 right now. So it's got a few percent upside potential before it hits the next resistance area. I do think it has potential to go all the way up to around 64 on some type of increased volatility. As it starts to top, we could see a rally followed by a sharp sell-off. But I am bullish on crude. I'm bullish on commodities in general. I think we're going to start to see them perform really well going forward. Physical assets seem to pick up speed and strength near the end of a equities bull market.
The U.S. Seems to be increasing production when other areas that produce oil are either cutting production or freezing it. Has that had any impact on price?
I'm not too sure. I don't really follow the production too much, just because it's all over the place. People say they're cutting and they don't cut, it's really just a total crapshoot in terms of are people going to do what they're actually saying. So I focus just on the price, and obviously if they're going to be cutting production, it's definitely bullish for gold or oil. But looking at the price here, we're going to expect to see oil continue to move higher for another 4 or 5% to the upside, and then it could stall out.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
Cypress Development Corp. is developing a world-class lithium resource in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. The size of the resource makes the Clayton Valley project a premier asset with the potential to impact the future of lithium supply. Cypress Development Corp. trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the OTCQB, symbol CYDVF, and on Frankfurt, symbol C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what's happening with palladium and platinum?
Yeah, Palladium's I feel as though it's trying to put in some type of topping formation. I talked about it actually hitting a double top that we saw back in April, and more or less today we're seeing a big upside pop in palladium. Obviously, there's a big pop in metals in general today, so it's getting lifted up. But this is usually what we see near the market tops. This happened in March, April, when the last market top was in place there, and we saw a huge pop followed by a very strong reversal and a crash in price. So I feel as though palladium is starting to carve out a top. It's had a really strong run. It's very much so an industrial metal, and I think it's starting to show signs of exhaustion. And when we take a look at platinum, platinum is kind of a lot like silver. It seems to lag the market, I find, in most ways. It's kind of that forgotten precious metal that after gold's had a big move in miners, people move into silver, and then they start looking around for the next, what's another metal that maybe hasn't moved as much yet. And I find kind of platinum seems to be one of those. There's not nearly the amount of people that follow it. It kind of just, drifts around in the background. But it's got some good signs of a bottom getting put in place. I wrote an article about it about 2.5 weeks ago, just before it popped, talking about it's ready to start, I think, a new uptrend and pick up speed. And I think platinum and silver are going to be moving in sync together, but they're not leading the market right now. They're going to move up later, I think, as a couple.
Some have suggested palladium might be going up in price because China has just increased its emission standards for cars, and you need palladium for their catalytic converters. So maybe, perhaps, that could be the reason it's going up.
For sure.
Now, Bitcoin, what's it doing?
Bitcoin's had a nice run. It's pulled back in the last 2 weeks, and now it's running back up to test those highs, trying to get up to that 14,000 mark. To me, it looks very toppy. It's had a big run, a big expansion move, very, very emotional based move, in the price action. And then we've had this pullback, and I think the markets are kind of drifting up. I feel as though it's going to trade. I mean, it's a huge range. I think Bitcoin is going to trade more or less between, 10,000, and 14,000. I think it could do that for several weeks, if not a month or two. And to me, that would be a very, very strong formation that the next breakout will be back up to 20,000 again, going forward. But the way the Bitcoin has moved, I'm not a huge fan of trading it or getting into it. It could drop or spike in price, at any point. And there's just so much momentum in both directions. It's just swinging around wildly. It's not something I really want to get involved in until there's some type of base, some type of formation that actually shows stability, a platform for it to break to the upside and rally, or break down and collapse. At this time, it's just really noisy, way up in the sky, kind of floating around, and it needs to stabilize before I really get excited about Bitcoin for potentially the next run and tag of that $20,000 mark.
Bitcoin is for adrenaline junkies, I would think.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't say that, but yeah, I mean, it's for extremely aggressive people who just want to get into that. I mean, that's not my thing. I'm looking for steady gains. So
Chris, how would you sum up the markets for this week so far?
Well, I've got the markets showing early signs that I think the equities market is still wanting to carve out a top. I talked about earlier this week that I think we're going to see the SP 500 push above 3,000 for a few days. I have cycles topping out. The VIX is starting to show signs that it's bottoming. No one is afraid of higher prices. There's a lot of things coming together saying we could have a fairly significant correction in the equities market, very similar to what we saw in May. So I'm not really excited about getting long the equities market at this point. I'm looking for some type of bearish formation to form on the hourly or 30-minute chart and the daily chart, and to confirm some reversal signals and potentially play a downside move. We played the May sell-off. I think we can do something again over the next week or two. But you got to still be long equities at this point. I mean, we're still in a raging bull market. The trend is up right now, but got to be aware. It feels really lofty at this time, and I think we're going to see a deeper pullback in equities. And the miners, I mean, in gold, you got to be long in your long-term portfolio. They're breaking out. They're starting a new bull market. As a trader, I'm looking for either a breakout here to get back in for a short-term trade. If it starts to break down, I think we're going to see a pretty good pullback in miners and metals if it does break to the downside, because it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. People are super bullish, and usually the market likes to get those people out of the market, scare them out with a drop before it continues to go higher.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, Jim.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen from thetechnicaltraders.com. If you have any questions for Chris or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet, our YouTube channel, Talk Digital Network. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.